Okay, let's unpack this. You're thinking about hacking courses, right?
Mm.
Maybe you're aiming for a career jump, picking up a critical skill, or maybe you're just, fascinated by it all.
Yeah, it could be any number of reasons.
And whether you're totally new to tech or you already kind of know your way around a network, this deep dive should hopefully be useful for you. We're not just going to skim the course descriptions.
No, we're going to crack them open, see what's actually being caught inside.
Exactly.
And what's really interesting is just how much is out there.
Mhm.
The range.
Totally.
You got these really structured, big-name certs on one end, and then way less formal, almost underground training on the other. It's quite a spectrum.
Absolutely. And our mission today is basically to help you make sense of all that. We've sifted through a whole bunch of syllabi, course outlines, insider info, whatever we could find.
Trying to give a clear picture.
Yeah, a clear and hopefully kind of fun look at what learning to hack actually involves. Where should we start? Maybe with the business class option? Certified Ethical Hacker, CEH.
Yeah, the CEH, it definitely has weight in the corporate world, no doubt.
Right.
It's known for giving that really broad overview of the field. And the structure, that appeals to people looking to get a foot in the cybersecurity door.
Okay, so let's peek inside this business class ride. Module 1, it looks like, is the intro stuff.
The basics.
Yeah, like what is hacking? Who are hackers? And importantly, the legal side. What lines you absolutely cannot cross.
Right, setting the stage, common language, understanding the ethics, the legal boundaries.
Yeah.
That last one's super critical if you're thinking professionally.
Makes sense. Then Module 2 jumps into footprinting and reconnaissance.
Ah, the intel gathering phase.
Exactly, figuring out info about a target, both passively, like just, looking at public stuff,
Observing.
and actively, which means like poking around a bit, but
Yeah.
gently,
Yeah.
without being intrusive.
Right.
So you learn things like Google Dorks, those specialized searches, whose lookups for domain info, DNS enumeration, kind of like the internet's phone book.
And that recon is so fundamental. It's like scouting a place out before you actually go in. The more you know up front, the better your next steps will be.
Okay, then Module 3, scanning networks. Now we're talking tools.
Getting your hands dirty.
Yeah. Using things like Nmap, that's a big one, right? For probing networks.
Oh, yeah, absolutely foundational.
And vulnerability scanners, looking for weak spots. Plus, port scanning tactics like knocking on all the digital doors to see which ones are unlocked.
Network scanning gives you that detailed map, what pathways are open, what potential flaws might exist. Nmap really helps define the attack surface.
Then Module 4, enumeration. This goes a step deeper, it seems.
Yep, not just finding open doors, but trying to see who's inside.
Right. Extracting user data, group info, techniques like NetBIOS enumeration, SNMP, LDAP,
Yeah.
getting more specific details.
Exactly. It builds on the scan, actively querying services for that valuable info. Very useful for later stages.
Okay, now modules 5 through 8 seem to cover a lot of ground pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's a bit of a whirlwind section.
We're talking system hacking, like password cracking,
Yeah.
malware trojans and stuff, sniffing, listening in on network traffic, and social engineering, manipulating people.
It's a broad sweep across different attack vectors.
Mm.
Shows you the variety of threats out there.
And it doesn't stop there. Module 9 and onwards gets into, well, even more advanced stuff.
Hit heavier hitters.
Denial of service attacks, session hijacking, lots of web app attacks, SQL injection, cross-site scripting. It's pretty deep into offensive techniques.
Yeah, that progression shows CEH aims for a wide foundational understanding, even of the more complex threats.
And they wrap it up finally with things like cryptography, wireless security, IoT hacking, even cloud attacks. Seems pretty comprehensive.
They're definitely trying to cover the modern landscape, keep it relevant with current tech and threats.
So the big picture for you, the listener, what's the key takeaway on CEH?
Well, it's broad, super wide-ranging.
Like at that buffet analogy we mentioned earlier?
Exactly. You get a taste of almost everything, which is great for a general understanding, right? But maybe not that super deep dive expertise in every single corner. It's a solid starting point, good credential, especially for showing employers, the basic concepts.
Okay, cool. Let's switch gears completely now. We've done the broad, corporate-friendly CEH. Now let's talk about, well, a different beast entirely.
Where theory meets the road hard.
Haha, yeah. Where hands-on skills are king. I'm talking about the Offensive Security Certified Professional, OSCP.
The OSCP. Yeah, it definitely has a reputation. Hardcore, but highly respected.
Very different vibe from CEH, right? It's all about the practical.
Hugely practical. Less holding your hand, more figure it out.
So what does that look like in practice? Weeks 1 and 2, information gathering, vulnerability analysis, but intense.
Deep tool usage.
I bet.
Nmap, Deerbuster, Nikto. You're living in those tools.
Right, getting really technical from the get-go.
Immersed immediately. Learning the tools pen testers actually use day to day.
Then week 3, exploitation fundamentals.
Right.
And not just talking about exploits.
Doing them.
Buffer overflows, writing custom shell code, getting reverse shells.
Yeah, and the whole try harder mantra. You're expected to wrestle with the problems.
No easy answers given. You got to understand how it works.
Exactly. Understanding the guts of the vulnerability, not just running a script someone else wrote.
Week 4 hits privilege escalation. Getting root right.
Yep. Moving from low access to admin. On Windows, on Linux.
Learning the dirty tricks, kernel exploits, finding those misconfigurations.
It's critical. That jump from initial foothold to full control. OSCP really drills those practical methods.
Week 5 moves into client-side stuff and web app hacking.
More web vulns.
CSRF, XSS, LFI, RFI, Squale again, but hands-on exploitation, file uploads, web shells.
Covers a lot of the common web weaknesses. Again, focuses on doing it, understanding the exploitation, not just identifying it.
And then week 6 and beyond, post-exploitation and pivoting.
Moving through the network.
Using one hack machine to get to others. You mentioned Meterpreter magic.
Yeah, Metasploit's mid-to payload is often key there. Crucial skill for simulating real attacks. Attackers rarely stop at one box.
And finally, the exam.
Ah, the beast. 24 hours.
5 machines to compromise. Sounds intense.
It is. Grueling. Requires persistence. But that's why it's so respected, right? It proves you can do it under pressure.
No kidding. So, the bottom line on OSCP for you listening.
Think boot camp. Real-world hacker boot camp. It's all practical skills.
Sleep optional, root mandatory.
Pretty much. You get out what you put in. Huge dedication required, but it shows serious practical ability.
Okay, so we've got CEH, the broad survey, and OSCP, the deep practical dive. Now, let's go somewhere else entirely.
And to the less formal side.
Yeah, the underground crash courses. Because, let's be real, not all the learning happens in official classrooms or cert programs.
That's a really important point. There's this whole other ecosystem, often very focused, very current, but sometimes legally murky.
Or worse, yeah. We're talking about learning on platforms like Discord, Telegram, hidden forums.
Places where info spreads fast. Often niche stuff, sometimes illicit.
And the topics covered in these unofficial courses, well, it's a different world.
Yeah, prepare yourself.
Things like carding, credit card fraud, dealing in compromised RDP sessions, stealer logs, using cryptors to dodge antivirus, phishing setups, deploying RAC's remote access Trojans.
DDoS for hire services. OSINT tools used for stalking deep web markets.
It's raw, it's often illegal, very different from ethical hacking courses.
And it's crucial listeners understand that engaging in this stuff has serious consequences. Big difference from formal ethical training.
And the key difference here, no formal syllabus, no official tests.
Nope. It's driven by experience, shared knowledge, and sometimes, well, learning from consequences.
Yeah, stark contrast to the structured stuff. Quality varies wildly. Ethical guidelines are often absent.
Huge risk involved, both legally and in terms of the information itself.
So you see the range. CEH's corporate nod, OSCP's practical fire, and this unregulated underground scene. Which path is right depends massively on your goals and your ethics, obviously.
Understanding these different tracks is key to navigating the whole hacking education landscape. Each has unique skills, knowledge, and risks.
Okay, let's pivot slightly. Let's talk about a certification that's more like an entry ticket to the whole cyber world, not just offensive hacking.
CompTIA Security Plus NE.
Right. It's not really a hacker course, is it? More like Cybersecurity 101.
Exactly. Foundational knowledge.
Right.
Widely recognized baseline. Not focused on offense, but super valuable for understanding security overall.
So what's in this entry ticket? Key areas look like threats, attacks, vulnerabilities, architecture and design, identity and access management.
Cryptography, PKI, risk management, security operations. Yeah, the core building blocks.
The focus seems to be on the why behind security, not just the how of hacking.
That's the key distinction, yeah. It gives you the concepts, the terminology. Great for analysts, SOC beginners, even folks wanting to go offensive later. You need that foundation.
Makes sense. Okay, moving on. There's one that's been getting a lot of buzz lately. The PNPT, Practical Network Penetration Tester.
Yeah, the PNPT. It's definitely gaining traction.
Yeah.
Aims to be very practical, very realistic.
Trying to bridge that gap between theory and real-world testing. So what skills does it cover? External recon, exploitation, web attacks, Active Directory abuse, Privis-esque, pivoting. Sounds pretty hands-on.
Yep, covers the core pen testing skills needed in the field. Practical methodology.
But here's the interesting bit. I saw the unique part.
The report and debrief.
Yeah, you have to write a full pro report and deliver a live debrief like you would to a client. Someone called it OSCP with a suit and a Zoom call.
Yeah, that captures it. It's test the communication skills too, not just the tech skills, which is crucial in real engagements. Sets it apart.
Okay, cool. Now, for those out there, maybe like me, who learn best by just by breaking things.
Using hands dirty.
Exactly. There's Hack the Box Academy. Seems tailor-made for that.
Oh yeah, HTB Academy is great for that. Structured but gamified. Lots of hands-on labs, interactive stuff.
And they have these learning paths, right? Like bug bounty hunter, web pen tester, AD expert, even SOC analyst.
Yep, lets you focus your learning towards specific career goals or interests. More guided than just doing random boxes.
And the modules sound super practical. Linux fundamentals, exploiting web apps, Windows internals, AD enumeration and attacks, even malware analysis basics.
Very hands-on, covers offense and defense. Good mix for practical skill building.
Okay, so we've hit foundational stuff, intense practical certs. But what if you've done OSCP or something similar? What's next? How do you level up?
Now you're stepping into advanced red team territory.
Right. If OSCP was first blood, this is becoming a real operator.
Exactly. These certs are for experienced folks wanting to specialize in red teaming, simulating real adversaries.
First up, CRTO, Certified Red Team Operator.
Focuses heavily on the tools and methods red teams use.
Like Cobalt Strike C2 Mastery, phishing with payload delivery, credential dumping, Kerber roasting.
Domain fronting, network evasion. It's all about emulating sophisticated threat actor TTP's tactics, techniques, and procedures, and staying hidden.
Operational security is key.
Absolutely.
And then there's CRTO2, even more advanced.
Yeah, taking it up a notch. Defeating EDR's endpoint detection and response. Advanced persistence techniques. Large-scale data exfiltration post-exploitation.
Whoa. Okay, so this is about operating with serious sophistication, dodging modern defenses.
Exactly. These courses teach how real adversaries operate silently inside networks for long periods. It's about challenging security postures realistically.
Got it. Now, shifting gears again. Malware development.
Ooh, the dark arts.
Haha, yeah. This isn't just using malware, it's building your own custom tools.
Requires a really deep understanding of system internals, programming, creating tailored evasive stuff.
There are specific programs for this, right? Maldev Academy, RTO Maldev by Rastamouse, even books like Practical Malware Analysis with Labs.
Yep. Structured paths into the really nitty-gritty of malware creation, reverse engineering analysis. For those wanting that deep, low-level knowledge.
And the skills you learn. PE file structure, shellcode injection, AV evasion, process hollowing, API unhooking, reflective DLL injection. Sounds intense.
Very technical. Allows you to build sophisticated, memory-resident tools that bypass traditional defenses. Very advanced stuff.
Yeah, the key thing is, this is way beyond script kiddie level. It's understanding the OS architecture, manipulating it to create tools that fly under the radar.
Critical skill for APTs. Highly specialized red teams. Creating truly custom, stealthy malware.
Okay, let's hit another foundational but super technical area, exploit development. Buffer overflows.
Now you're talking breaking things at the binary level.
Yeah, really needing to understand the machine.
A highly technical discipline, understanding software flaws at the lowest level, crafting inputs to trigger malicious behavior.
And there are well-known courses here, too. Offensive Security's OSE, Corallin's boot camps.
Yep, very respected. For people who want to get into the weeds of how software breaks, they teach the core principles, the techniques.
And you learn things like stack smashing, SEH overwrites, ROP chains to bypass defenses, fuzzing to find 0 days.
Those are the fundamental methods for exploiting memory corruption vulns. Leads to code execution, system compromise. Crucial knowledge for offense and defense.
And you mentioned something interesting. Real exploits are precise.
Oh, incredibly. One wrong byte, and poof, it crashes instead of working. No room for error. Requires meticulous attention to detail, deep technical understanding.
Okay. Let's pull back from the deep technical for a moment. How about hacking without traditional hacking?
OSINT. Open source intelligence.
Right. Gathering info that's already out there, publicly available.
Vital skill. Collecting, analyzing public info to understand a target. Used for intel, initial pentest stages, tons of applications.
And there's training for this, too. Trace Labs CTFs, OSINT Curious Project, SANS, SESC, 487.
Yeah, good resources. Offer structured training, practical exercises to build proficiency, basic gathering up to advanced analysis.
And the skills you get. Finding emails, addresses, hidden data, tracking people through metadata, building target profiles before you even touch their network.
Incredibly valuable. Understand the digital footprint, identify potential angles based on exposed info, gather intel for social engineering.
You described it provocatively before, like digital stalking.
Well, yeah, it's powerful reconnaissance using public data. Big implications for privacy and security, for sure. Highlights how much info we all put out there.
Okay. Now for that more niche area we hinted at, the underground hacker academies,
Yeah, the less visible side. Invite-only circles outside the mainstream certs.
often focusing on legally gray areas, or worse.
Definitely. Specific, sometimes illegal stuff, operating outside formal education, legal frameworks.
And the topics, pretty wild. ATM jackpotting, SIM swapping, hardware hacking, bad USBs, flippers, keyloggers.
Deepfake creation and evasion, crypto anonymization, dark wallets, stuff you won't find in CDH.
Definitely not. And where do these things pop up? Hidden discords, private telegrams, onion forums on tour.
Adds to the mystique, but also the risk. Very hard to vet the quality, legality.
Yeah.
Huge personal security risks involved.
And the crucial point, not for beginners. And often, definitely not legal. Very different world, different rules, different motivations than formal training.
Absolutely vital to stress the risks. Legal trouble, security risks. Stick to ethical, legal learning paths.
Okay. So we've seen structured courses, intense labs, the underground. But how do the really good hackers keep learning? The experienced ones.
Self-directed learning. That's key.
They build their own syllabus, essentially.
Pretty much. They take charge, identify interests, and just pursue knowledge relentlessly.
So key strategies, first pick a specialty. Web, wireless, mobile, malware.
Yeah, specialize. Go deep in one area rather than trying to master everything superficially.
Then constant self-study in labs, building and breaking stuff daily.
Yep, hands-on practice. Apply theory immediately in a safe lab environment. That's how you build real skills, deep understanding.
And CTFs. Capture the flags. Huge part of their training.
Massive. Try Hack Me, Hack the Box, Proving Grounds, constant testing grounds, gamified challenges against others, wide exposure to techniques.
Finding a mentor or community seems important too.
Incredibly valuable. Sharing knowledge, learning from experienced folks, getting different perspectives, accelerates growth hugely.
And maybe most importantly, building their own tools. Not just using off-the-shelf stuff.
There's a deeper understanding. Lets you create custom solutions for specific problems. That's advanced skill, ingenuity.
And that guiding principle you mentioned. If you're not uncomfortable, you're not growing.
Exactly. Pushing boundaries, tackling hard problems. That's where the real learning happens in this field. Discomfort often means you're learning something new and complex.
You know, we keep mentioning CTFs, capture the flag competitions. I think we should really unpack why they're so good for learning.
Definitely worth diving deeper. They're like an informal but super effective hacker school.
Yeah. If you're listening and want to seriously level up your practical skills, CTFs are a fantastic way to do it. Safe, engaging, practical challenges.
Like we said, two main styles. Jeopardy solve individual puzzles in categories like web, forensics, crypto, binary.
Points for each flag.
Right. And then attack defense teams hacking each other while defending their own systems.
Like Cyber Olympics meets Puzzle Box.
Good analogy. Jeopardy builds specific skills. Attack defense adds teamwork, strategy, real-time pressure.
And the benefits are huge, right? Real skills under pressure, community interaction, and even jobs.
Absolutely. Recruiters increasingly value CTF performance.
Yeah.
Shows practical ability, critical thinking under pressure, very attractive skills.
Let's quickly run through those common categories again. Web exploitation, SQL, XSS, finding admin panels, forensics, analyzing network traffic, recovering files, steganography.
Crypto breaking weak encryption, binary exploitation buffer overflows, reverse engineering, Poon full system compromise, miscosint, maybe even lockpicking sometimes.
Super diverse, caters to all sorts of interests, lets you find your niche. So if you're listening and thinking, okay, I want to try this, where do you start?
Good question. Lots of beginner-friendly places. Try Hack Me is great. Their paths are guided. Hack the Box Starting Point series. Over the Wires Bandit challenges are classic.
Pico CTF, root-me.org too, and ctftime.org to find upcoming competitions.
Exactly. Those platforms offer a good learning curve, lots of resources, supportive communities.
But just showing up isn't enough. How do you actually get better at CTFs?
Good point. First, don't be afraid to Google. Research is key. Take detailed notes, Build your own knowledge base. Understand why solutions work. Don't just copy-paste.
Read write-ups from others.
Definitely. Learn from how others solved it. And start automating simple stuff. Build small scripts for decoding. Common requests. Saves tons of time.
Continuous learning, leveraging the community. That makes sense.
And the secret sauce? CTFs teach methodical thinking, breaking down huge problems, building mental endurance hours on one challenge, fostering creativity. There's rarely just one path. And teamwork? Often.
So it's the mindset as much as the technical skills. Problem solving.
Precisely. That combination makes CPFs invaluable for building real-world cybersecurity pros.
Okay, so people are fired up about CTFs, ready to jump in. Let's give them something tactical, the ultimate CTF cheat sheet.
A quick reference guide could be handy.
All right, first, recon, quick nmap commands, full TCP scan, nmap-sc-sv-oa, initial scan target tip, UDP ports.nmap-AAPP target tip, aggressive, full scan, nmap-RA-A target tip.
Standard stuff. Good start.
Web recon, directory brute force with ff-uhttp.target, fuzz-ez-e path to word list. Tech identification with whatweb http.target, and that TTL trick for OS guessing 64 for Linux, 128 for Windows.
Yet TTL can be a quick clue, though not foolproof. Nmap ROF, what web bread and butter for initial looks?
Fast web hacks, basic SQL for login, ROR11, union-based, union select null, in null, quick XSS test.script, alert1 scripts, LFI test.set-tpass-wd, and try common admin paths.admin login, etc.
Common first shots for web don'ts. Often work in CTFs, maybe less often in hardened real-world apps, but definitely worth trying.
Password cracking, found a hash. Use Hasheed to guess the type. Basic John the Ripper. John wordless path to rockyou.txt hash file, brute forcing with Hydra SSH, Hydra-L user-p wordlist SSH.target, web login example, Hydra-L users-p passwords target turl HTTP post form login.user, user and path login failed.
It's essential tools. Identify the hash, then throw John or Hydra at it with a good word list. Standard CTF procedure.
Enumeration. Got some open services. Try FTP anonymous login. SMB list shares. Tackle client -LVNP NEC. SMP client target share. Simple netcat reverse shell. Careful. Target runs NCE attacker report etiki bin bash. Attacker listens NC-LEVNP port. Basic PHP reverse shell payload 2.
Basic enumeration of common services. Netcat is the Swiss Army knife for basic connections and shells. Very useful.
Okay, got a foothold. Privilege escalation quick hacks. Linux. Find SUID binaries. Find Nashcrom Natish 4000. 2text manal. Check writable cron jobs. SDEC cron tap. Check sudo rights. Sudo SL. Windows PowerShell. Check privileges. Wami privy. List scheduled tasks. Tasks query for LSTV. Search for password files. Dear S. Password.txt. But crucially, run linpeas.exe on Linux, winpeas.exe on Windows.
Absolutely. Those P scripts automate checking for tons of common previous vectors. Huge time saver. Do the manual checks too, but always run the scripts.
Finally, mental tips. CTF battle mindset. Stay calm, be persistent, think creatively, laterally, document everything, break problems down. Remember, it's often mindset over specific tools.
So important. Calm under pressure, creative thinking, good notes, breaking down complexity. That's how you succeed when you hit roadblocks.
Okay, great cheat sheet. Now let's zoom out again. The big picture journey. The black badge hacker path. Like a skill tree for aspiring elite hackers.
A roadmap from 0 to, well, highly skilled.
Level 0. The curious wanderer, just starting out, learning basic CS, Linux, networking, HTTP, command line, setting up that home lab.
Resources like Try Hack Me Pre-Security, Over-the-Wire Bandit, intro videos.
Focus is purely foundational. Don't worry about exploits yet. Build that base.
Absolutely critical first step. Yeah. Understand the fundamentals before you try to break them.
Level 1. The scripter. Learn basic Bash, Python. Automate tasks. Build simple tools, port scanner, password cracker.
Automate the boring stuff with Python. It's great here. Yeah. Linux command line courses. Understand the power of automation.
Big force multiplier. Scripting.
Huge.
Level 2. The bug hunter. Focus on web vulns, SCLI, XSS, master recon, Google dorking, subdomain enumeration. Practice on Juice Shop, Try Hack Me OWASP Top 10, maybe EJPT cert.
Understand developer mistakes. How to spot and ethically exploit web weaknesses. Common entry point into offensive security.
Level 3. The operator. Now it's a real offense. Full network pen testing, prevesc, pivoting, basic Active Directory exploitation.
Hack the box, easy medium machines. Try Hack Me Offensive Path. Often where OSCP comes in. Regular CTFs are key here.
Master the whole attack chain. Recon to exfil.
Signifies ability to conduct full pen tests. Practical understanding of the life cycle.
Level 4. The red teamer. Focus shifts to evasion. C2 frameworks like Cobalt Strike, AV bypass, phishing payloads, lateral movement without getting caught.
Virtual Red Team Labs, HEB Pro Labs. CRTO certification is a big one here. Goal. Operate silently, invisibly.
Emulate sophisticated attackers. Stealth, persistence, advanced TTPs. Realistic security assessment.
Exactly.
Level 5, the Elite Black Badge. Highest level. Advanced exploit dev, custom malware creation, reverse engineering, building custom tools.
Advanced certs. OSCP, OSED, OSDE, CRDX. Contributing to exploit DB. Joining private groups.
Moving from operator to architect. Building the tools, the infrastructure for attacks.
Signifies mastery across multiple domains. Creating novel stuff, deep analysis, contributing back to the community.
Wow. Okay, so that's quite a journey mapped out. And that brings us pretty much through this deep dive into the whole world of hacking courses and training paths.
Yeah, covered a lot of ground.
Hopefully, if you stuck with us, you've got a much clearer picture now. You understand the different options, what they involve, and maybe which ones feel right for you.
From the broad certs to the super practical specialized training and even the informal learning routes.
So, depending on where you are, maybe now you're thinking about digging into CEH or OSCP details, or maybe trying out TryHackMe or Hack the Box for a CTF.
Or even just starting with some OSINT tools, gathering public info.
Yeah. Understanding these pathways, the resources out there, that's the crucial first step. You can tailor your own learning journey now.
And it is a journey. This field changes constantly. Continuous learning is absolutely essential.
Definitely. And we're not done with this topic either. We'll definitely circle back in future deep dives, maybe talk more about building that hacker lab affordably.
Or dive even deeper into CTF strategies in specific categories.
Sounds good, but we also want to hear from you. If you have more questions about courses or other topics you want us to tackle,
Let us know. Your curiosity guides what we explore next. Keep learning, keep asking questions.